Well, that's a fine way to start. Trying to get my chair set. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Wow. Well, it feels like morning to me, so that tells you where I'm at. Good afternoon. It is Virtual Collage Jam for, what day is it? Where's my calendar? You'd think that I'd never done this before. Good afternoon. Welcome to Virtual Collage Jam for Monday, January 27th. Our theme this week is technology, and I'm going to put a little shout out to everybody in the chat. So please feel free to say hi. Looking forward to collaging with you guys. Hope you're doing well. We had that cold snap, and hopefully now you're you've got through all right. And yeah, it's certainly warmer out, and I hope you got out for a walk today so far, because it's really beautiful out there. A little windy, but mild and sunny. So two good things, right? So, and it seems that if I look in my background, I have someone approaching.
Hello.
Hello. What have you got? What brings you here, Kim?
Well, first of all, to say hi to everybody. Hello.
Hello, Kim.
Don't get blown over. I hear the winds are going to go up to 80 or 90 kilometers per hour, the gusts. So be careful out there.
Yep.
And I just hit send on my latest newsletter.
Cool. What's in your newsletter,
In the newsletter, I have two things I want to share. One is a free live stream that you have to register for in on the subject of making a DIY cheap and cheerful fixture to allow you to print with the gel plate in multiple impressions, but keep the impressions in alignment.
Right. Like a simple registration tool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's one thing. And
why don't you roll in? You seem to be out of focus. Why don't you?
Because I'm further back.
Yeah, there you go.
This camera has depth of field.
It does.
And the other thing is I have a gel plate workshop coming up in February on Zoom, 2 parts,
right,
1 week apart, and February 19th and 26th. Those are Wednesdays.
Yep.
And it's for
subject?
Quest Art, and the subject is what is the subject? Oh, it's transferring different kinds of images using the gel plate. So some of the methods we're going to go further in depth on. So that I think there'll be some surprises in there for most people,
right,
as well. So yeah, not only like the average, not like the average YouTube video. Let's put it that way.
That's awesome. So, but you can't transfer color, or can you? Like using
depends on what source material you're using and what method.
Right,
so I can't say you can't transfer color, but I may mean that in a way that's different than you expect.
Right.
Did I mention that the live stream is this Friday?
Friday. Wow, that's soon.
Friday at 2:30.
2:30.
So register early, register often, and anybody who registers will get access to the replay as well.
Cool.
So,
and it's at 2:30. And how long? I mean, I know that you probably don't have that exactly.
I don't know exactly how long it'll be, but I would say an hour.
Right. Cool.
Is likely.
Yeah.
Unless there are millions of questions, in which case it might extend a little longer than that.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn how to register, you better register.
A gift for copywriting.
Bum.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of the marketing. But marketing. It's a free live stream. Like
right,
what's
exactly. But other than that, how are you?
The reason I'm doing it is because a number of people have asked me, because they know that I have a registration tool that I've made, a number of them that I've made myself. So it's by request, by popular request, that this is coming free. So
cool. And yeah, we've got some of our lovely regulars joining us.
Excellent.
Hello, Janice. Nice to see you
Hi,
all.
Janice.
From Midland. And Lisa.
Right.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Annie. Yay.
Hi, Annie.
Always happy when Annie's here. And Jane. Jane is the super trooper, Jane. How many of you missed, Jane? You could probably count on the fingers of one hand the number of collage jams you've missed since we started.
I don't think very many, right?
Yeah. You've got the Iron Woman record well in hand. And
Happy New Year to you too, Jane.
Yeah, thank you. And
I'm
Lisa,
part of the Facebook group. How do I get the newsletter? Oh, you get the newsletter by signing up on my website.
Yeah. So are you in the Facebook group for
the gel plate monoprints?
Right. Yeah, with Kim. Just make sure that you're not talking. Yeah.
If you're talking about Virtual Collage Jam, well, I can put the information in Virtual Collage Jam too.
Right. That would be good because like gel plate stuff is great for collaging with, right? So yeah.
Yeah. So but to just sign up directly, I'll just put in the chat here.
Your website?
Sign up.
Right. And do you have it's easy to find on your website if people go there?
It's a pop-up window, so you won't miss it.
Right, yeah.
There we go.
And so
I'm identified as Cat Honey, so what I've written now sounds funny.
Right. Yeah, but it's so
so Lisa, my newsletter is I have announced the workshop in the gel plate Facebook group because I always like to give people in that group a heads up. Boy, the reflection of that light in my glasses is really bad. There we go. Now you can see my eyes. But the links to register and everything. I've put the workshop on my website, and I will shortly be also on my website putting a link to register for the free live stream.
Right.
I'll do that right after I'm finished here.
Right. Because if someone signs up for your newsletter now, it's already gone out. But if they right.
So I'll do that. So stay with Virtual Collage Jam. By the time you're done, you'll be able to sign up on my website, and that will automatically subscribe you to my newsletter.
Cool.
Yeah.
2 for 1.
Yeah, exactly.
And
hi, Rebecca.
Hey.
I haven't seen you or talked to you in a donkey's age. I know Kat's been in touch with you, but not me.
Yeah. And Jane says, by accident under a silicone mat to glue.
So you did an image transfer on your silicone mat.
Yeah.
And that's because silicone mats are actually an alternative. They don't work quite as well as a jelly plate, but they can be an alternative material in place of a jelly plate or to supplement, to have more than one option. So that will be the subject. I love cheap and cheerful things and alternative things. And so at some point I'm going to cover that topic.
Cool.
Anybody who's interested, you just let me know you're interested and it will move higher in my list of priorities.
The one with gel plates, it's a nice slab, right? So silicone, it's harder to find thicker.
Yeah, you don't need a thick, you shouldn't have a super thin one, but the kind that are used for
like baking,
the smooth ones that are used for baking are good, as long as they're not really
hey, Philippa. Philippa's joined us. Nice to see you.
Hey, Philippa. Hi, Gunta.
And Jane says she's with you, cheap and cheerful.
Yeah, cheap and cheerful is fun, isn't it, Jane? Yeah.
And Gunta, yay, Happy New Year. Well, how are things down in Niagara? Nice to have you along. It's been a while. So lovely. Yeah, cool.
Smooth silicone mat I bought in Dollarama specifically for gluing. Yeah, it's great for gluing, right? Because you can clean it up.
The glue will come off. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I have a number of, probably too many silicone mats because I've been trying out different ones.
Yeah.
And you can get extra heavy ones too. So they are thicker. They're about twice
Okay.
as thick as the
Oh,
baking ones. Yeah, but that I got on Amazon.
research queen there. She knows
Too many things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing it all fits in there.
Well, that's why I'm so absent-minded, though, right?
Yep.
It's like
So Gunta says cold and windy when I asked how it
Yeah.
is in Niagara. Very much like it is here. Hopefully it's sunny as well.
Yeah, the sunshine, honestly, is very welcome. But yeah, don't get blown over out there.
Yeah, I was on a Costco mission before Virtual Collage Jam, and loading the car. They were trying to put. I thought, oh, I'll just put this stuff in the bags outside of the car, and that was more challenging than I should have. But anyway,
yeah,
it's all good.
Jane says she's actually used plexiglass in place of a jelly pad, and it worked well. Plexiglass is a long-standing monoprint method.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have a number of the characteristics of a jelly pad, the squishiness or the stickiness, but it's definitely an excellent material for a monoprint.
Yeah.
It's not as versatile as a jelly print, but
yeah,
I've used a not very nice plastic shopping bag as a monoprint surface. So, you can really do all kinds of things. So
I bet people would be really interested in monoprinting out of the box, and coming up with a bunch of the wacky discoveries. Because she's always trying crazy stuff.
Well, now that I've got a little more energy, more is going to be happening this year. But I should not take over this. I feel like I've talked too much and talked too much about printmaking when this is about collaging. I'm sure there are a lot of people going, when do we get to the collage part? And I don't blame you.
You know what? They've already got their first collage is 3/4 done already. So yeah, don't worry. But
yeah, Gunta, that's a very good thing to do. It makes the gel plate even more versatile and easy to use. So
you can pick it up.
Yeah, it turns it into a big stamp.
It keeps it. Yeah, you can actually do that. Yeah. Print down with it rather than print upon it, but it also just keeps it from it keeps it good and flat too, right?
Yeah, and
protects one side of it. So
yeah.
I cut Kim a bunch of pieces of plexiglass on her table saw so that her gel plates are protected.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Well, I'll let you enjoy your collage jam.
All right, thank you. But nice to see you. Yep. Thanks for dropping by.
Great to see you, everybody.
This is what we call a cross promotion. And it's about as low tech as it gets. So Rebecca says, lovely to see you as well, Kim. I'll pass it along. But yeah, no, it's Rebecca Reynolds too. Cool. We've got dueling Rebeccas. That's so cool. Rebecca Niblett and Reynolds. Do you Rebeccas know each other? You've both been at Halliburton, I wonder. This summer, Rebecca, I don't think so. She's I'm doing a couple of weeks at Halliburton, but she has decided not to. So, but she is doing ones online through Quest. So that's yeah, that's as far as I know anyway. So I'm going to switch my camera to overhead so that we can get this party started. Hopefully you guys have been collaging away already anyway. I'd be curious what sort of technology you're thinking about. I will be showing you what I have in mind. So Gunta, Quest is Quest Art is is a gallery and art school in Midland, Ontario. It's where I had my exhibition in August, September. But they do have online things as well. So it's very much like, what's the Niagara one, Niagara Pump House? So it's kind of like them. I haven't been to the Pump House, but I know they do courses online and in person. And Quest is the same, but in Midland. So although they do have a gallery as well. So Rebecca Niblet says she doesn't think they know each other. Memory is not great, so maybe met at some point. Janice says she's just trying to figure out the tech angle. Rebecca Reynolds says, Rebecca Niblet. If we did, I don't recall, right? So, so forgive me if I cross my Rebeccas. I'll try not to. So I will switch to my overhead camera. So we're going to go black for a minute or two. But don't be alarmed. Let's get this camera up there. My system for holding the camera up is not the world's best. It works fine, but it's not. It's a little dodgy. So. So we were talking about, or I was asking you guys what your tech angle is, and so I'm going to show you a few things that I'm going to be playing with. I just need to get a couple of prints. All right, all right. So this is it's something from NASA. I got it on Unsplash, which is a royalty-free site, and a part of this image was what was in the YouTube thumbnail. A little sort of black and white. I don't know whether it's a photo or a graphic of sort of circuit boardy kind of things. This looks like some kind of major, either it's a RAID, like a whole bunch of hard drives or something, or it's a million routers. But we've got sort of a whole bunch of sort of, it looks like Cat5 cables, lights. But I am not a tech person, but it's the back of something and power up here. And it's like, that's a serious chunk of tech. So these are just I got all of these shots at Unsplash online. But then what I did is something that I remember doing several years ago. And I just thought it might be fun to do it for collage purposes as well. So this thing here, this is a JPEG. And what I did was I took the JPEG and I opened it in a text edit, which is like the Mac's simplest word processing app. Like, it's just super basic. But what I then did was I started taking certain bits out of the code, just like deleting a few characters here and there, or moving things around. And what it does is it introduces these sort of glitchy kind of effects. And so sometimes what I did would obliterate it, so I'd undo that. And then I'd try different things. So these are a couple of different variations, but it's really fun. I mean, you can, depending on what you take out, you can end up with like no difference or making the file invalid, like so that it doesn't work at all. But sometimes it does some really cool things. Like with this one, like this part shifted, right? This, whatever code I took out here, arranged this part to line up, and it rearranged it, which is so cool. This part Did something with the color. Obviously, the top looks more or less the same. So, and then this was like, I forget which one I did first, but I then did a save as and did some more changes. Like this has got like a purple cast. It's got this weird thing going on up here. So it's really fun. And so this, oh, I don't think I printed the actual original shot for this one. Oh yes, I think I did. Where is it? Maybe I didn't. Okay. But it's like a woman working in she's working on a laptop in sort of a really sort of tech environment. Like maybe I don't even know. But she was in the center and so there's some of her laptop that she's working on. So it got shifted like this did. The color cast changed to green because I took something out. And then this is also one that I did like that. And this is a screenshot because interestingly, this one would just display as a big cyan when I opened it, and it would just look a big cyan thing. But when I looked at the preview was this interesting set of colors. It was a very different kind of thing, a bunch of wires and some photographic effects on the wires, but then I changed it and the colors are very different. So I just thought these would be kind of fun things to do. And I also printed out some of the pages of of the code because I just thought that's fun too, right? Like it's just plain text. Got some other thing in there that I don't need. So I'm just going to play with this stuff. So let's see what you guys have in mind. All right, so no one's commented, but yes, technology can include so many things, right? Like a hammer is technology, a supercomputer is technology, AI, that's a huge can of worms, right? So really, it's a pretty wide gamut. So I have zero idea what I'm going to do with this, but I'm going to have fun. That much is for sure. So, but one thing I need to do before I get started is replace my blade. It's way too short. So bear with me while I do that. And yeah, if you have a strategy or if you have an idea for what you're going to do with long technology lines, let us know in the comments, or just play with it. As I always say, but it's worth reminding everyone that the prompts are optional. Like if you'd rather work on a different kind of thing, totally cool, go for it. I have always loved having a starting point, and I think it at least got highly developed when I was a graphic designer, but I don't know whether it was there beforehand. Maybe it was, but when I have something to latch on to, it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing, or I know where to start, right? And that's what the prompt does. The prompt gives us a place to start. And, if it means that you get started, which is usually often the hardest part, right, guys? If you get started and then your process takes you somewhere else, that's great. That's a win, right? So even if it starts out as tech and ends up being like very much not, but it got you going, it's a win. So there's something, I think I need a ruler for today. Somehow it just seems straight lines seem to be a good thing for tech. So I'm going to cut. Oh, so many options. I just love what the craziness that happened in this thing. Like, I'm going to hold it a little closer so you can see some of the, like, this has like vertical bands in it that it didn't have. This piece is sort of offset, like it's been shifted along, and then this part from over here is coming over here. There's this very interesting little band across the top of like a color shift. So I don't even know where to start with that one. Now, I can always print this out again, so I'm going to try and remind myself not to be precious about it and just to go for it. But maybe I'm going to start with something else and then bring that in. All right. I think maybe start with, I could use a little more light. Hopefully it won't be too bright for you guys. I think I'll just start by cutting some of the white off and then see where we go. You know, there was, when I was working on this one, it was, the original image was very sort of grays. It had a few little shots of color, but mostly it was a color photograph, but most of what was in it was gray or white or black with just a few colored wires, and obviously her hair and stuff like that. But something I took out just changed the cast to green. But I just thought the green, there's something cool about the green. So I just thought, yep, go with that. And, so there's something that worth talking about, which is, a bunch of these things I could try in Photoshop if I knew, like I could take this and add a green color cast to it. I could put a band of, a band that lightens it. I could shift these pieces, like this piece over, and put the piece that was over here onto this side. But I think what's great about the glitch aspect is you don't know what you're going to get. It's like you spin the wheel and you get these, sometimes like, oh, that's not very nice, undo. But sometimes you get these really great surprises, right? And surprise is something I'm addicted to, right? So I'll check in with your comments in a few minutes. Just get a little further along here. Wow, I'm not really getting far along at all. I'm sort of, I guess what I'm doing is absorbing what I've got and just wondering what would be interesting to do with this stuff, because I haven't really got an idea yet. And so just trimming the white off probably I'll come up with an idea that I wish I had left the white on. But it just gives me a simple thing to do while I think. It's kind of glorifying what I'm doing, calling it thinking, but you know, get familiar with the images. I wonder if this one's like an X-ray of like a circuit board. It probably isn't, but yeah, I think it would be less perfectly, less graphically perfect. It would have halos and stuff like that. So probably not, but I do like it. I like it particularly vertically somehow. So all right, I got a few neon colors here. Somehow that seems techie too, doesn't it? Like pink and lime green and this sort of like really strong cyan. And they just happen to be some of my favorites too, so what's not to love? All right, I'm just going to hit go and start playing. I guess before I do that, I'll check in with the comments, see what you guys are saying. Hey, Nellie, welcome along. Sorry, you probably commented a while ago. She said, I'm watching, found you by chance. So glad I didn't miss it. Awesome to have you on, Nellie. Yay. Janice says, what was the name of the photo editing program I used? So I started out in Photoshop, which most people don't have because it's expensive. But you know what I ended up doing was I took the JPEG. So these are things that probably most people have, right? I took the JPEG from the downloaded JPEG and just opened it in text edit, which is very bare bones Macintosh word processing. You could probably do it in like another word processor as well. And I opened it. When you open an image in a word processing program, all you get is like probably thousands of pages of this, like code. So what I then started doing was like, I'd cut out one or two little characters, and then I'd save it, and I'd look and see what it did. And if it did something interesting, I'd leave it. If it did something that I didn't like, I'd undo it. Wow, I got some focus issues. Sorry, guys. There we go. So yeah, so it's really, wow, my camera's just having a moment, isn't it? Sorry. Why is it having so much trouble with this? So that's where the focus is. Wow. Like, come on down. Come on down to where I've got my work. I think Kim has had this happen a couple of times while she's been teaching, and how annoying, right? So anyway, Lisa says, surprise is exactly why I love gel printing. Exactly. You never know what you'll get, right? Exactly. Like you know, if we get exactly what we want, it's not usually as interesting because what we want is not as interesting as what we get usually quite often. So it's great to get some surprises. Rebecca, yes, I know you love neon too, don't you? Annie says, I'm starting on Febrelage, trees, getting a head start, but it's actually not that long now, is it? Like, yeah, we're close to the end. So yeah, getting a head start's a good idea. One of, I think not next Virtual Collage Jam, but the one after that, we're going to use the Febrelage prompt for that day. So, so save that one. The second, so not 2 weeks from now, but 4 weeks from now. And Janice says, oh, yes, I know what you mean now. Okay, good. Awesome. Perfect. So let's just see what happens. I really wanted sort of more of a horizontal tear. Not perfect, but there, that's fair. All right. There's no one right or wrong way to start. I remind myself as I start wondering how should I start. So all right. Why a tear? I have no idea. I guess because it's counterintuitive to the to everything else. So, but so yesterday I finally got back to doing some voice practice because my voice sucks, or it's not. Let's just, I won't be that mean to myself, but what I mean is it's not strong. It doesn't sound the way I want it to. So, but I got sick of practicing a year or so ago, so I gave up for a while. So I thought I'd get started on it again. And yesterday, actually, it was sounding not bad, but it's fleeting because now it's not where I want it. But we'll see where I'm at in a few months. Maybe I can bring it along a bit better. So I don't even know why these tears, but I'm thinking maybe I'll cut out, of course, my anal retentive, you could cut out all these like cool little shapes, and like, no, I'm not going to do that. I might pick a few of the simpler ones and cut them out though, and try to go against my predilection to drive myself crazy with cutting out a million little things. But I thought it would be cool to have little glimpses of these tears through some of the holes. you know, I'm just thinking about why I started. Oof. Sorry, try that again. Why I started with tears. And another aspect is it's quick. It's sort of it's not precious, and that kind of I kind of feel like that gives me a little momentum, even if most of this gets covered up. I've at least got a start with something that didn't take a long time. So. I am forever losing things under collage paper. I'm sure you guys are the same. All right, let's see what we get here. All right, obviously I need more coffee because I'm going silent on you. Sorry about that. Let's see. What can I mention? Just trying to think what's news. I'm still going back and forth with about the possibility of having a few pieces that like large scale prints of my collage at a boutique in Vancouver, which is very cool. I am I'm cautiously optimistic, so you know that would be awesome. So fingers crossed on that. I think I may have mentioned that before, and they've just been wondering about sizes and which images they want. So I've shown them a few different options. They've thought, oh, we'd rather have that, and then oh, maybe this. So, but I feel like we're getting closer to what they want to go with. So that's cool. Isn't that fun? Like those two, there's something interesting about that, isn't there? Like the Yeah, I don't even know what yet about that. I'm gonna put a stripe of this in, I think. This one's not as wide as mine. Oh well. I'll still be all right, I'm sure. Especially if I bury it under something, which I may or may not. So what do you do when it doesn't quite same width? I kind of like it to be the same width, but it's not going to be, so we'll just live with that, I guess. Oops. Yeah. Well, actually, I want to show the color, so we'll just cut it at the edge. I like the way this this cyan here talks with this sort of slightly greener one, and then this little sliver of the zingy pink. How much is too much? Kind of like the skinny bit, so I'll go with that. All right. So, Annie, what's the first February? Oh, you said tree, right? I think was the first prompt for Februage. All right, where's my other messed with NASA one? All right, let's bring this in and see whether it's red herring or gray herring or not. Actually, I wonder whether. Yeah, this one, I was just wondering about cutting some of the bits out of this, like maybe just some of these loopy cables. I wonder. Yeah, I think maybe not. I'll cut a few holes in this, and then if it works, it works. If not, I'll use it for something else. So, which holes exactly, I'm not sure. So, when I'm trying to figure out what to cut out, in this case, I could cut out some of these like really, really fine things that would drive me crazy. Or I may cut out just a very few shapes. Like, I think like circles are simple to cut out, but maybe not interesting enough. Now, it always depends what shows through it, right? So whether it's actually a good or not. So I'm going to pick maybe I'll pick some of those, and then some things like these shapes that aren't super complicated, but are interesting shapes. So let's see how that goes. And of course, that's going to take me a little. That's going to take me a little while, even though they're not that crazy. And you know what? There are all of these shapes are rectangles with like slightly rounded corners. I think they may become straight corners in my cutting. Just to save my sanity. All right, I think I just need to cut this last one, and then I've got those 3 out. Wow, my hand doesn't want to do what I'm asking it to this morning. And there I am again thinking it's morning. Well, you know, Kim is a night owl, and I've sort of been infected by her. I used to be a morning person, and I am by nature, but I've been getting up late. So I think that's why it still feels like morning to me. Now, today accepted because I was up reasonably early, but in general, I'm struggling to get up at a normal hour for me. So let us know in the comments, are you a night owl? Are you a early bird? Or are you sort of somewhere in between? Kim and I, because we're you know, if I'm not being affected the way I am right now, I go to bed early, she stays up late. I get up early, she sleeps in late. And we both find that works for us because we have lots of time overlapping each other to talk about anything we need to talk about, to do things that we want to do together. But it also means that we get time for when the other person isn't awake, and that's really there's something really peaceful about that, right? You don't have anyone coming and asking you a question, right? It's like the other person isn't broadcasting, and I think that's really good for creativity, right? Like if I want to get down to something, my sort of most productive hours are probably in the morning, and then hers are late in the evening, right? So we get those times when we are just allowed to think our own thoughts without interruptions, and that's huge, I think. How about you guys? Do you have are you guys in sync with your partners, or are you opposite with your partners in terms of when you get up and go to bed? How does it work for you? I'll I'll check on comments in a minute or two. Just get a couple more of these shapes cut out. Oh, it's so tempting to just start cutting out all these crazy long lines. Don't do it, Kat. Don't do it. All right. It's, it's funny. My hand isn't doing what I wanted to do. And my immediate thought is maybe there are ruts in my cutting mat and they're taking my knife in the ways I don't want it to go. And while that is possible, I think that maybe it's just it's just that I'm not doing such a good job. My my motor skills are are lacking today. I could blame the technology, but I think it's really operator error in this case. I'm just trying to correct it a little bit as best I can. Smooth it out. Yep, still looks, it looks very hand cut. Oh well. There is something strange about something looking hand cut when it's this high tech. And so that might be something worth thinking about, right? For like, I'm just, maybe one of the reasons why I was why I was tearing was because it's the opposite of like all these crisp edges. And so this is a thought for another time, which is like maybe doing really sensuous organic shapes, cutting them out of something very grid-like like this might be an interesting, more interesting than when I'm cutting this by hand. I'm gonna see. I am anyway. Probably you guys wouldn't worry about it, but I'm going to see all the fact that like it's been cut by hand in a sort of very technical shape, but it doesn't look quite right. So I'm cutting out a simple square, but with complex shapes at the corners. That's sort of I was thinking that was kind of like a compromise between cutting out only simple shapes and cutting out super complicated shapes. So here's an interesting question for you guys. Well, before we get to another question, let's just see what you guys are saying. Lisa says, yeah, good for you. Take it slow with your voice, a little at a time. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's, yeah, that's how it's got to go. Hey, and Mia's here. Hey, Mia. Sorry, you probably put this comment up a little while ago, but I'm just reading them now. So nice to have you along. And she says, I'm playing around with my new obsession, a jelly plate. Awesome. Also in love with Payne's Gray. Cheers. Yeah, no, Payne's Gray is so great. That really dark modified blue, so it's not strong color, but it's unmistakably blue, but it's a lot of black in it, so it's this really interesting color, isn't it? So it gives you a bunch of the things that you get from black when you're painting, but also with that one little bit of color. So yeah. Rebecca says, Kat, the landscape course you're leading at Halliburton School of Art, is it a collage-based class? So the landscape course is, there are some drawing exercises and some painting exercises, but there's also a lot of leeway as far as what media you use. So there are a few things that are set, but there's a lot of leeway. So if you want to do it as collage, or a lot of your work as collage, totally cool. But you do need to be able to do a little drawing and painting as well. I seem to recall that what I did with that materials list is I divided it into like core materials that everyone will need, like some drawing materials and some other things, and then optional materials depending on what kind of an artist you are, like whether you're a watercolorist, you prefer acrylics, you do collage. So yeah, so there is flexibility. And he says, yes, trees. Yep, good, awesome. I'd love to see what you're doing tree-wise, Annie. That's cool. Jane says, early bird. She's an early bird. Can get so much work done in the morning, but if engrossed, can work into the night. Yeah, so you got, I can't remember who it was, but some writer or something was talking about the fact that morning is good, evening is good, but that afternoon sucks. And I just thought that was funny, right? And I kind of feel like that's true too, right? There is something about, I think probably, well, I'd be curious. Does anyone find that afternoon is their best time? I bet probably more people are either morning or evening, and fewer people are afternoon, but I'd be curious. Oh, there you go. Like the next comment I'm reading, Jenna says, definitely an afternoon person, best energy. So there you go. Annie says, I used to be an early bird, then I shifted to a night owl to spend more time with my daughter. Right. Now I'm trying to move it back. Love watching the sunrise with my coffee. Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of teenagers, a lot of young people gravitate to that nighttime energy. So yeah, when I was younger, same thing, but now that I'm older, definitely morning. Lisa says, used to do theater, was very much a night owl. Yeah, you have to be, right? But now better in the earlier part of the day. Younger self would be appalled. Yeah, right, exactly. Rebecca says she's a night owl, and Kirk, her partner, is a morning person. I also need more sleep than him, right? Especially in the last few years. Oh, I feel you, Rebecca. I'm like, I used to abuse sleep and only get like 5 or 6 hours, but now I need like, man, I could most nights sleep 9 or 10 hours if my schedule allowed. So yeah. She says, so I feel like he gets a lot more time awake without me than vice versa. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Mia says, morning person fade after 3, pick up again after 6. Yeah. So you're that thing we were talking about, morning and then a sort of a second hit in the evening, but not late evening. Right. So yeah, it's interesting. All right, so I had a question for you, and I'm going to be collaging a little bit for so you can work, and then when you need a break, just comment. Um, oh, hello, Diane. How are you? Somehow I missed you before this, but welcome aboard. She says she likes to paint late at night, but I'm trying to change to morning. Yeah, it's hard to change the dial, isn't it? So here's a question that for you is, in your art practice, guys, do you use a lot of technology? Um, do you have certain aspects of technology that you really, really like, or do you avoid technology like the plague, or do you use a lot of tech? And where do you find tech fits in with your art practice? I am not highly technical, but I am not low tech because I was a graphic designer and I did a lot of work on computer, and so I have certain facility with that. But there are just so many kinds of ways to use tech that I have no idea about. Um, and I know some artists are very interested in AI, and I have to admit I'm reluctant. I kind of feel like I want my art to be, and I used art in a very wide, like, I don't like the idea of like using AI to write. I don't like the idea of using AI to create images. I completely understand how some people who don't have um, creative facility, or they really love like figuring out how to make AI work for them. Um, I'm going to have to, I think about that a lot and figure out whether it's just like, I don't want to stick my head in the sand, but I also kind of feel it's going to be a hard sell for me because even when I work with photographs, when I work with Photoshop, when I work with InDesign, any of the technical programs that I do have facility with, I kind of feel like it's just like it is me and what I understand I can do or what I can try. But I'm sure that someone who's really interested in AI, would argue it's just another powerful, yet more powerful tool. And yeah, I get that. So yeah, that's an interesting thing. But I love to use my hand tools, and I like to use obviously some play with some technological aspects as well. Wow, I haven't really got much cut out, have I? I've been yakking up a storm. I forget where, you know, that's actually something you hear me say a lot. I forget where I came across it, but I think Kim came across it with someone commenting on the fact that as far as AI goes, do we really, like, if we have this, if we're going to engage with AI, and obviously it's not something we can stop at this point, do we really want it making our culture, or do we want it doing things that humans struggle with, right? Like, why is it that, like, I can totally see it being useful for, like, solving some of the intractable problems we have, but why is it like, why are we using it to make art and write words? Like, maybe it's just because that's the beginning, right? But I'd much rather it solved some of our diseases, um, or the climate crisis, or some such, right? Rather than, or do research that we just can't manage to do. We have limitations as the humans we are, but do I want it writing my plays and books? Do I want it making my films and my visual art? Not really. But, there will be, probably very soon, there will be these things that we all agree are amazing, and they're made by AI. So, all right. I kind of feel, well, I haven't really given it much time, have I? But I kind of feel like that's not doing what I was hoping it to do. But maybe I just haven't cut out enough. Yeah, no doubt that's the case, right? So, what if? All right. All right, so I just thought maybe it's time to cut a big swath of something out of this. Just picking an edge arbitrarily and following it to take a big chunk out, because I think that's kind of what is called for. And I'll probably choose a couple of others like that. And then I'll check in what you guys are saying about how you use tech. That's cool. That'll be cool. I'm teaching a course on collage and music and how they might how they might interact. And one of my students mentioned Rick Beato, and he's got a channel, a sort of a music appreciation channel. He's very articulate and interested in like he's just a little older than I am. I think he's in his early 60s now. So he's very much a rock and pop person, although he understands jazz and classical as well. But something that he is often talking about is how he bemoans how terrible the music of today is, and part of me understands where he's coming from, and part of me is just like, you're showing that you're getting old. You don't like, yeah, of course there's never been more music, and a bunch of it is formulaic or not going to stand the test of time. But of course there must be interesting artists out there doing interesting things using technology. Like, I bet there are a lot of kids in their basement working or in their bedroom, right, working with computers and all kinds of things to make really, really groundbreaking music. So I don't buy that that I think it's just different now, right? So when I think about that, I think, well, probably I'm feeling the same way that he is about visual art. So maybe it's time for a reset in my attitude. What I should do, what I think I want to do, is learn more about AI, because I don't know enough, right? And I think it behooves all of us to understand just a little more, because it's such a big factor in our lives as we go forward. So, yeah, so I think I better do that before I start bemoaning the fact, right? All right. So I'm just going to check in with what you guys have been saying. So, all right. Oh, okay. Hi. So I'm picking up with Diane. Hi, Diane. So she says it's her first time here. Awesome. Welcome aboard. And let us know in the comments how you found us. Did a friend put you onto it? Did you find it by searching? I'm always curious how people come to us. Philippa says, I'm definitely an early morning person, rest in the afternoon and go to bed early. Energy goes in spurts throughout the day. Yeah, I can relate to that. Philippa says she's learning to use special effects with some of her photos. Right now, she's working on a collaged landscape. That's awesome, Philippa. Annie says, I have a professional technology background, but I almost hate it, she says. AI, though impressive, I am worried about all the jobs that will replace or displace. In my art, I am old school, no technology. Yeah, and I understand that. And I think, like, I do worry about the jobs that it displaces. If AI meant we were all rich and could pursue, like, it looked after our needs, but it just constant, like so many things that this is I shouldn't get off on a rant, but like, if it meant that we could all have 2-day work days, that'd be amazing. But what it'll do is it'll concentrate power in the few, and then the rest of us will be struggling without our jobs and without income. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that road. That's already too far. And Rebecca says it actually contributes to the climate crisis. Yes, because it draws huge amounts of energy. So yeah, exactly. It uses lots of energy and water to cool down the computers. Yep. Janice says she uses Photoshop to resize photos and placement ideas before cutting and assembling. Yeah, Photoshop, I've come across some painters who do a bunch of testing color schemes or compositions on Photoshop before they then commit to like painting a really large panel. That's going to take them quite a while, which is interesting, isn't it? Like, they know that people love like an oil painting, so they make an oil painting and they know they can sell that, but they use high tech to arrive at composition and color and a whole bunch of things. But they know that it's going to be hard sell to just take this file and say, okay, this is my work. So it's interesting, isn't it? Rebecca says she found a quote online that summarizes how she feels about AI. The underlying purpose of AI is to allow wealth to access skill while removing from the skilled the ability to access wealth. Right. Yeah, that sort of puts what I'm concerned about. Nellie says she thinks AI is overrated in art. Sugary sweet stuff looks great to some, not a keen eye. Yeah, and it's also in its infancy, right? Um, I follow a few accounts on Instagram that do AI art, and and some of it is amazing. Some of it's terrible, but it's interesting but worrying, I think, is how I kind of feel about it. Um, Nellie says, but sometimes they can work wonders on composition. Yeah. Diane says the only tech she uses is YouTube, like now. Cool. Lisa says she uses the computers for photo editing and printing for the most part. She likes to be hands-on, get them dirty, not a big fan of computers. Yeah. Yeah. Rebecca says AI could be doing great things for us, like what Montreal Children's Hospital is doing. Oh, that's interesting. I'd love to know what they're up to. But like most things, it's following money. Yeah, exactly. Money and capitalism. So it's mostly being used to make money for the rich. Exactly. Um, and Diane said, Adele told me you would be here. Okay, cool. Awesome. Um, Mia says AI is helping us in many ways, but I worry that if when it gets into the hands of evil demons, what it will do to humanity. Well, I think it's already on the way, but I know what you mean. There's there's evil that like the evils that we know, and then there are the evils that we can't even imagine yet, right? And some of the evils we think we know are also like unimaginable as well, right? Like everyone knows the name Google and Apple and all of these, right? But like, what are they going to do with it? Yeah, yeah. Um, Rebecca says AI is built on the backs of uncompensated and uncredited artists and creators. Exactly. So, I mean, it, you know, it's kind of like it just goes around like grabbing stuff willy nilly from everywhere and then re using whatever it can find. And so it's it's like a it's like an ocean trawler. It just grabs all kinds of stuff, leaving a path of devastation, and none of it gets credited because yeah, it took something from me, something from you, something from them, and it has recombined it. And we might say that looks familiar, but that part doesn't. And it's like, yeah, so, visual creators, writers, creative people, it just harvests all that stuff. And then we don't get any credit, but it couldn't do it without us, right? And at least not now. In future, probably it will. Um, Diane says a lot of young people have turned off social media like Facebook and Twitter and very controlled interaction with Instagram. Yeah, yeah. Well, I know that, for instance, there's that Australia has banned social media for, was it one platform or social media entirely for people under a certain age, I think 16, which I think is is probably a very good idea, right? So, all right, so I've yacked, I've thought, and I haven't really made much. I've made a little bit of progress, but and I feel like I've got interesting things going on, but I don't know that where they're going just yet. I think maybe with this one, it might just be a case of maybe just a few more torn bands of things, and then it's, it might be the piece that warmed me up to do something else. This piece I've just put on this. This is just the pad backer, which I just happened to expose, and that's kind of interesting, right? Because it's this muted palette. This also might be interesting over top of like a hot color. Let's just see. And actually, on maybe on top of a not so hot color, something a little more muted. Try a couple of options. There's something interesting about this one now. Now, I think taking these bigger chunks, I think that was important. Like power button green, I think is kind of fun. I'm just a sucker for lime green. Like lime green is one of my favorites when I'm painting. So painting, collaging, yeah. So it just finds its way into a lot. Pink would probably also be good. And maybe combinations. Like pink in some spots. And then, yeah. I kind of feel like, I did put pink in there, but I kind of feel like one one color is better, at least for now, how I feel about it. But I also want to cut out a bit more. I think, like thinking about it, I've got some bigger chunks and then some small ones. I think I'll cut out a few more pieces and then see where it goes. But work in progress, right? I don't think it's anywhere. It's not there yet. So maybe I'll do that now. We've only got a few minutes left. I'm always amazed at how fast an hour and a half goes. So Diane, I know you're new to it, so please feel free to look up our Facebook group on, it's called Virtual Collage Jam group. And you need to ask for permission to post the first time, but then once you're done that and I let you in, then you can post work that you do. It can be in stuff you do in Collage Jam, but collage in general, and see what other collage jammers are posting. So definitely a good thing we'd love to have you there. And yeah, I'm gonna go maybe 5 or 10 minutes over, but if you have to leave right at 3:30, thank you for joining us. Our next one is in 2 weeks. I was figuring out the prompts and okay, I actually remember, because it's getting close to Valentine's Day, our next prompt, which I think the day is February 10th, will be Hearts Are Wild. So you can start thinking about that now. Or not. Maybe you just want to keep your thoughts on technology for now. I'm just going to take out, I kind of feel like this shape that's kind of like it's behind some other things. I think that will feel interesting rather than just like a hole. So I'm gonna, yeah, I think that's gonna be nice. This white piece I'm taking out. Although now I think about it, there's not that much white in it, so maybe maybe I should have left it in. Oh well, too late now. It's only paper. I can always I can always print another one. So how did your collaging go, guys? Did you what did you end up making? Have you got some excuse me, have you got something underway? Did you finish something? Are you liking where it's going? What sort of imagery did you use? I know that's a lot of questions at the end of the jam, so don't feel obliged to answer. Unless you want to, of course. Yeah, you know what I'm thinking about this piece here, and whatever color I put it over top of. And then I think it might be a nice background for something that maybe there's like, it's like black, white, and grays, the single color, whatever that is, maybe something more recessive like this purple, and then something else goes in front that is more animated, but we'll see. That's one of the things, I mean, what's not to love about collage, but the fact that you can try things on top of each other, change the layering. That's something I love about it, right? So you can make something and then you can decide, do I want to put something over top of it, or is it good enough the way it is? Or I thought this thing would look great, but it actually turned out it doesn't look great. That's fine. You just don't glue it down. You can try before you buy. right, I'm just going to get this piece, this one cut out, and then I'm not there yet, but at least sort of see what I think. Yeah, there's something interesting about that, and I think maybe a different color, maybe the purple. Yeah, because the purple is kind of similar value to the gray, so it blends in one respect, but stands out by value, and then but it stands out by color. So I think that could be an interesting backgroundy kind of feel. So more to go on that. More to go on everything, right? Classic. Yet another virtual collage jam in which I haven't finished anything. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to, I'll read the last few comments. I'm going to switch to the, I can say hello or goodbye, as it were. There we go. All right. Comment-wise, oh, I can change my glasses so I can actually read the computer screen. There we go. Okay, that's good. So Rebecca reminds you guys to remember to like the video. It helps me, my videos get noticed, which it does. Maybe some people who don't know about Collage Jam will find it on YouTube and join us in future. That'd be awesome. Jane says, thanks, Cal. Gotta go. See you again in 2 weeks. You probably left already, Jane, but if not, see you in 2 weeks. Diane says, will do. Enjoy watching, but I am not really into collaging. Maybe I'll give it a try. I did a demo at the WGA last September, and it was fun. Okay, yeah, cool. Well, I love to turn people on to collage. So, but I understand it's not for everyone. But it actually also plays nicely with paint and other media. So maybe it's a sometimes thing that comes into and plays with your paint and drawing sometimes. So. Excuse me. So Mia says, thank you, Kat, for this relaxing session. Good. For my generosity, of course, you're very welcome, Mia. I love sharing it. Yes, Kim, you missed. Kim was with us for the first part. Check her website, kimleeco.ca. She's going to be doing a free live stream on gel plate printing. And I know you are. Oh, wait. Yeah, it is. So she's going to be, I had to remember whether it was gel plate printing. So she's doing a live stream on how to register different hits on your plate this Friday. So yeah, go to kimleeco.ca and check that out. She's going to have it up very soon, if not already. Annie says, I finished the trees. We'll post it on Virtual Collage Jam. Awesome. After I walk the pup. Yep. You're welcome, Annie. Great to have you along. See everyone next time, which will be great. Janice says, went through some magazines, tear sheets that looked techie. We'll assemble and post later. Perfect. Yeah. Even if you're just like looking for stuff while we chat and thinking about it, that's great, right? I mean, finding images, finding things to work with, that's how we get started. That's how the ball gets rolling with collage. So if you've got some nice materials, then you're ready to roll for later. Diane said, it's been a good day to watch something new being created. Cool. Lisa says, enjoyed watching me in the conversation while finishing a small project of your own. Perfect. Yeah. I mean, it's still a creative place to hang out, right? That was our goal. My goal always was, yeah, you can collage, but you can do anything else creative, or you can just hang out with us. It's flexible. You're very welcome, Rebecca. Thanks for joining us this time. And Mia says, yes, I'm signing up for a gel plate 2-day course February, and I'll try to join her free session this Friday. Perfect. Awesome. Just got her email. Perfect. Yeah, so you know about it. Janice says, always look forward to it. Yay. And Lisa says, that's the love to be with creative people. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rebecca. Hope to see you at the next one. Lovely. So 2 weeks, February 10th, Hearts Are Wild. Meanwhile, keep collaging, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.